Everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Allison Holmes, and I'm the KLS Mentor Coordinator. I'm here today with some of our KLS student mentors who are going to be speaking about their experience being mentors at KLS. So I'm going to turn over to our discussants and have them introduce ourselves. And I think I will start them off with a question of, what do you think it means to be a good mentor?
I'm Quinn. I was a Kent Law School student mentor for 2 years now. I've now just graduated. The main thing to be a good mentor is really to have that willingness to help in the first place, to be able to help somebody who is in your position but is a year behind. So you have that extra year or 2 years in order to help somebody who is just coming to university and is new to the experience.
I'm Philippa. I'm an incoming third year law student, and I am a lead student mentor. And not to reiterate what Quinn said, I think it's exactly that, but also being a friendly face for students, very much being friendly, accessible, approachable, and kind of letting them know that you're there to help them.
Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine. I was a KLS mentor for 1 year and I've just graduated as well. For me, what makes a good mentor is adding on to what has already been said, sort of being proactive. So sometimes sourcing out information, so whether it be good websites to hand down to your mentees, things like that, and also good time management. You have to balance your responsibility as a mentor with your studies. Of course, your academics come first, but you've got to be able to also put in enough effort to be a good mentor and provide good support.
In terms of the mentoring program, from your perspective, so as a mentor, were there any benefits you got from being a mentor? Any sort of skills or positives that you derive from the program?
Kind of goes back to what Jasmine just said about time management. That's one of the skills you do get to develop for the reasons she just shared with us. But also in terms of communication, I think one of the really important things about being a mentor and kind of tying back to being approachable is making sure you don't sound condescending or inaccessible. So that's kind of about communication skills. You need to work on your personal skills and be very much, I'm repeating myself, but like being accessible and not condescending or intrusive, and that's communication.
And I think it sort of goes to what Quinn said in terms of, you know, you're a year or two ahead, but you're still sort of a student, and it's similar experiences and sharing those experiences. I think Quinn wanted to come in on this.
I was just going to say that the benefits that you get from being a mentor, it all comes under the umbrella of trying to make yourself employable for the future, for after your degree. Because when you get to the workplace, a lot of places will have mentor systems in place where more senior staff, or whatever workplace it is, are mentors for the more junior or new staff coming in. And if you've already experienced like a mentorship program from the other side, then you're probably going to be more recipient to receiving help from a mentor in the future workplace. So it helps you become more employable, I think.
Just to add on to that, I think also what's really nice is having that increased student interaction. So especially in this last year with COVID and everything, there has been a lack of that communication and being able to be around students as much. So for me, I really enjoyed meeting new people. I mean, I had like 8 mentees, and it was really nice to meet them all and have these lovely conversations, and also even to put them in touch with each other through a group chat as well. I think that was nice for them.
So in terms of what you've sort of learned from being a mentor, if you could pass on any sort of one piece of advice or resource or something that would be useful to students who might be coming in and might be joining the mentor program, is there anything in particular you would recommend?
It would be setting the right tone and not being too intrusive, and also not letting yourself down if there's not that much engagement, because at the end of the day, you're there to help someone, and you can only help those who are wanted, I guess. So that would be one of the pieces of advice, also kind of setting boundaries and letting them know what you're there for and what you can actually help them with, and always doing that in a very like friendship kind of way, so a friendly way. I think that would be one of my tips, if that's not a really long tip. Yeah.
If I could just emphasize one of the points that Philippa made about setting boundaries. A mentor has to remember that they, of course, volunteered to be a mentor, and it's their free time that they're giving up. And of course, being a student, your priority has to be your degree. So you have to prioritize your degree, but of course, in your free time, to try and help your mentees. But don't let you helping the mentees become burdensome. I think I could speak for all three of us that we never found this scheme burdensome, and in fact we were very surprised at the little amount of time that was needed in order to help the mentees. But if one doesn't set boundaries, then the mentees may not know how much time to expect from you. As long as you make sure your expectations are clear from the beginning, it will be an enjoyable scheme for both mentor and mentees.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say also to be aware of the different resources. So part of setting the boundaries is knowing what you can and can't do, but also knowing, okay, so I can't help you with this, but I can refer you to this resource, whether it be Skills Hub or SLAS or your academic advisor. Knowing what these different departments do can be helpful in the scenarios where you can't necessarily do anything.
And that is something from the sort of academic side we're hoping and we're aiming to help with by providing training about what the limits are and what the expectations are, and just making that really clear to our students who are coming onto the mentor program, to just make very apparent, when you help and when maybe you direct them to other sources of help. And I guess just sort of one last thing I think to touch on. You talked about engagement and engaging with them, particularly during COVID times. So what might you say would be some useful advice to mentors trying to engage their mentees, but also advice you might give first years who are coming in about how they can get the most out of that sort of mentoring relationship? And Quinn, would you like to start?
Just to go back to what Jasmine said a few minutes ago, about the role of group chats, that they can be a great way to connect the mentees to each other who might have not made connections yet within their cohort. But you as a mentor can make that initiative and email them. Does anyone want to start a WhatsApp group? And then whoever's interested, they can get started from there. I think that's a great way to start, as Jasmine pointed out.
I think communication and right from the get-go explaining, we're kind of repeating ourselves, but very much explaining to the mentees what you're there for will also help them come to you. And as to first years or incoming law students, I think you honestly should make the best of this program, because these students are volunteering and they're there to help you with kind of guidance based on their personal experience, which basically they're going to tell you the exact things they wanted someone to tell them when they first got here. And that's amazing, like insights that you will be missing out on. And all the mentors are really friendly. So I do think for incoming first years, do engage with the program and do make the most of it, because some of the questions you'll be having when you first start, we had to. So yeah, that'll be my tip for incoming students.
Thank you. I would say just don't be afraid to ask questions. So be communicative, but also sometimes I think when you just start out at university, you feel that you have to try and get to grips with everything on your own and do everything on your own. But like Philippa said, make the most of it, because it's really useful to have someone who has had this experience. And of course, that is through attending meetings and just engaging as much as you can.